Welcome to TalesVeil. Real Reddit stories of workplace nightmares. Toxic teams, lying bosses, and brutal karma. Let's dive in. Story 1. The promotion that wasn't. I worked at the company for 6 years. Never missed a deadline, never complained, always volunteered for extra tasks. Everyone said I was management material. So when our department manager announced he was retiring, I finally felt it. My chance had come. I stayed late for weeks, handling his duties to show initiative. He even told me, "Keep this up, and the position's practically yours." I believed him. I gave up weekends, canceled a vacation, did everything right. Then, the big day came. HR sent out an email. New department manager announcement, 2 p.m. I straightened my tie, walked into the conference room, and froze. Sitting beside my boss was Jake, a guy who joined 3 months ago. He was still learning where the break room was. HR smiled. "We're thrilled to announce Jake as our new manager." Applause. Fake smiles. I sat there, numb, while Jake said, "I'm excited to lead such a talented team." My boss avoided my eyes. That afternoon, Jake came to me. "Hey, can you show me how to approve invoices? Also, can you handle the client call tomorrow? I don't really know the details yet." And that's how it started, me doing his job, while he got my promotion. At first, I thought about quitting. But then, I decided to wait. Watch. Document. Every project I completed, every email he forwarded to me, every task he delegated. I kept a quiet record. 3 months later, chaos. Jake made promises he couldn't keep. Lost 2 clients. Then he blamed the team, including me. But when management asked for proof, I showed them everything. Emails, timelines, completed tasks, all under my name. A week later, Jake was demoted. HR called me in again. "We should have recognized your work earlier," they said. This time, there was no surprise. I got the title. And a 40% raise. Funny thing? Jake now reports to me. Every time he walks past my office, I see it. That flicker of regret. I didn't celebrate with champagne or revenge. I just closed my laptop and smiled. Sometimes the best revenge is letting the truth do the work for you. Story 2. The sabotage game. When I got promoted to team lead, I thought my coworkers would be happy for me. We'd all started around the same time, same struggles, same long nights. But the moment the announcement went out, the atmosphere changed. Suddenly, no one invited me to lunch anymore. Group chats went silent when I joined. And worst of all, things started to disappear. First, a client file I'd been working on for weeks vanished from the shared drive. Then, a project report got accidentally overwritten. And one morning, my boss stormed into my office, furious. "Why is the final presentation missing? The client meeting is in an hour." I panicked. I knew I'd uploaded it. I checked the folder, empty. My team just sat there, pretending to help. "We didn't touch anything," one of them said with a smirk. I stayed calm, plugged in my backup drive, and re-uploaded everything. The meeting went perfectly. The client was impressed. Afterward, I went straight to IT. Asked for the server logs. And there it was. Timestamps, user IDs, everything. Turns out, 3 coworkers had deleted and moved files behind my back, trying to make me look incompetent. I didn't confront them. I forwarded the logs to HR and my boss, along with a note. "Sabotage is not teamwork." The next morning, I walked into the office to find 3 empty desks. Their badges deactivated. No one said a word. A week later, my boss called me in. He said, "You handled this better than most would. That's real leadership." That day, I realized something. Workplaces don't just test your skills. They test your patience, integrity, and ability to stay silent until the truth speaks for you. Story 3. The boss who took credit. My boss loved attention. Every time the team pulled off a tough project, he'd stand in front of the executives, smile proudly, and say, "I couldn't have done it without my team." But what he really meant was, "I did everything myself." He'd steal our ideas, our reports, even our slides, then present them as his own. And every time we confronted him, he'd shrug and say, "Relax, we're all one team." One day, our company announced a massive pitch. A chance to win a multi-million-dollar client. I worked nights and weekends building the perfect proposal. Data, design, strategy, all airtight. The day before the presentation, he asked, "Can you send me your final deck? I'll add a few finishing touches." I did. Big mistake. Next morning I got a thanks email, but no invitation to the meeting. He pitched my work alone. And won. Later that week, the CEO called me in. "I heard the pitch was incredible," he said. I nodded. "Tell me, how did you come up with that campaign?" I blinked. So my boss hadn't just stolen my slides. He'd used my name in his story. I showed the CEO my drafts, timestamps, and all the emails. He sat silently, flipping through the pages. Then he said, "I see. Thank you for being honest." A month passed. Then one morning my boss called an urgent meeting. He looked pale. Corporate had launched a review of his projects. Turns out, every single one had my fingerprints on it. By Friday, his office was empty. Next Monday, I got the promotion. Same office. New name on the door. Now, when I present a project, I start with, "This was a team effort." And by team, I mean the people who actually did the work. Story 4. My coworker, my backstabber. At my office, I had one real friend, or at least I thought so. Her name was Mia. We joined around the same time, always had lunch together, and complained about the same things: long hours, unfair bosses, fake smiles. We promised we'd look out for each other. Teamwork. Loyalty. Trust. One day, our manager announced a new role opening. A big step up, with better pay and flexible hours. We both wanted it, but we said, "Whoever gets it, the other one will celebrate." So, we helped each other prepare. I even shared my ideas for the interview presentation. Some of my best strategies and client insights. She nodded, smiled, took notes. The interview day came. She went first. When I walked in after her, my stomach dropped. She was still in the room, sitting beside the manager. And on the screen, my exact slides. Word for word. Same title, same design, same pitch. The manager looked at me and said, "Mia's already covered most of this." I froze. Mia just looked down, silent. I tried to stay professional, finish the interview. But deep down I knew it was over. A week later she got the job. She came to my desk, awkward smile. "It's nothing personal," she said. "I just really needed this." I nodded. Said nothing. But I didn't forget. Months later, the company launched a major project. The one Mia had to lead. She used the same ideas again. And they failed. The strategy had been built for a different client type. And when it collapsed, so did her reputation. The VP called me in privately. He'd reviewed the old files, the original proposals. He asked one question. "Were these yours?" I didn't lie. He thanked me, and told me I'd be leading the recovery plan. Mia was quietly reassigned to an assistant role. We never had lunch again. That day, I learned something. In the workplace, betrayal might get you ahead for a moment. But integrity always wins the long game. Story 5. The manager who loved power. I once worked under a manager named Carl. He didn't lead, he ruled. He'd scream at people in meetings, mock them in front of the team, and treat mistakes like crimes. Every Monday felt like walking into a battlefield. If you were 1 minute late, he'd humiliate you. If you disagreed with him, he'd freeze you out of projects. And if you made him look bad, He'd find a way to ruin your next performance review. He called it tough love. We called it fear. One day, during a team meeting, he exploded at Sarah, just because she forgot one chart in her report. He yelled so loud HR had to step in. But Carl was protected. His numbers looked good, and the higher-ups liked results. So we endured. Until one day, a new VP arrived. Fresh eyes. Fresh leadership. And she decided to run anonymous 360 reviews for every manager. We didn't hold back. Pages and pages of stories. Verbal abuse, micromanagement, burnout, tears in the bathroom. Every single one backed by emails, recordings, and witnesses. 2 weeks later, Carl was called into HR. He walked in confident. Walked out pale. By the end of the month, his name disappeared from the directory. No farewell email. No thank you post. Just gone. A few months later, I saw him again. Working as a sales rep at a smaller company. No team. No power. Just him and a headset. Our new manager? She built trust, gave credit, and listened. The same team Carl broke down. Became one of the best performing groups in the company. Turns out, respect motivates better than fear ever will. Story 6. The Office Spy. Every office has one. That person who smiles to your face, then whispers behind your back. At my last job, his name was Ethan. Always friendly. Always helpful. He'd offer to grab you coffee, ask about your weekend. Then later, somehow, your exact words would end up twisted in a meeting. We started noticing patterns. A private complaint about workload? The next day, management would call you negative. A team chat about improving processes? Suddenly, HR wanted to review communication standards. No one could prove it. But everyone suspected Ethan was feeding information to the boss. Then one day he slipped. During a meeting, the manager repeated a phrase, word for word, that I'd said privately in our team chat. Not email. Not report. Just chat. And only Ethan had reacted with a thumbs up. So we set a trap. We created a fake idea. A harmless, ridiculous suggestion. We should track productivity with color-coded wristbands. We accidentally left it in the chat. Next week, the boss called a meeting and said, Ethan brought me an interesting idea, color-coded wristbands. The room went silent. Ethan froze. The boss looked confused. And just like that, the truth was out. After that day, no one trusted him. He stopped getting invited to lunches, team chats, even after work events. Eventually, he transferred to another department, where, rumor has it, he tried the same thing and got caught again. The lesson? In toxic offices, spies may climb fast, but once they're exposed, they fall even faster. Story 7. The Overtime Trap. Our office prided itself on being fast-paced and ambitious. Translated? We work nights, weekends, and holidays, without a single extra cent. The manager, Linda, was relentless. She'd send emails at midnight, call during vacations, and pressure everyone to just finish this small task. We tried to complain, but HR shrugged. She's delivering results. We need results. One Friday, she asked us to stay 3 extra hours for a last-minute report. By 9 p.m., the team was exhausted. Everyone exchanged glances. No one wanted to speak first. Then someone whispered, Maybe we all just leave. It started with Mark. He packed his laptop, left a sticky note. Respect my personal time, I quit. Then Susan. Then Carlos. Within 20 minutes, half the team was gone. Linda stormed out, screaming over the empty desks. Where is everyone? We hadn't even left the building. We were in the parking lot, sipping coffee, waiting. By Monday, the CEO had noticed the productivity drop. Turns out, our clients were still fine. The work had been done on schedule, despite Linda's tyranny. She was reprimanded. Promotions she had planned for herself were frozen. And the team? We got back our personal time and bonuses. The moral? Sometimes, the best way to fight exploitation isn't more work. It's collective refusal. Story 8. The desk neighbor from hell. When I transferred to a new team, I was thrilled. Fresh start, new projects, maybe even friends. But my new desk neighbor Kevin had other plans. At first, it was small things. Chewing loudly, leaving crumbs everywhere. Talking on speakerphone about his weekend conquests. I tried to ignore it, figured everyone had quirks. Then it escalated. He started moving my stapler, my pens, my personal notes. One day, he even switched my coffee mug with his. And I ended up drinking instant coffee from 3 days ago. Meetings became a nightmare. He'd interrupt, correct things I hadn't even said, and make loud jokes about my ideas. People laughed, not because it was funny, but because they didn't want to be the next target. I tried talking to HR. They smiled politely and said, "Just manage your stress." That's when I realized Kevin thrived on chaos. So I did the only thing left, observation. 2 weeks later, the company organized a team-building workshop. Kevin was assigned to a group project with the CEO. Apparently, he didn't read the instructions. He bragged, interrupted, and ignored everyone else. By the end, the CEO was fuming. Next Monday, Kevin was quietly reassigned to another department. Alone. No team. No audience. Just him, his sense of humor, and a stack of spreadsheets. And me? I finally got peace at my desk. Sometimes karma doesn't come in fireworks. It comes in HR-approved reassignment. Story 9. The corporate leak. In our marketing department, information was power. And no one understood that better than Jason. The guy who smiled to your face, but secretly recorded everything. He'd attend meetings, nod politely, and later send anonymous tips to upper management. People started disappearing from projects, getting blamed for mistakes they didn't make. It was subtle, but toxic, enough to make everyone paranoid. One day, I caught him forwarding an email chain that included my client pitch strategy. If management saw it before the presentation, I'd be blamed for something I hadn't done. Instead of confronting him, I devised a trap. I created a fake project proposal. Absurd, ridiculous, full of tiny errors. Then I left it in a shared folder. The next day, the VP called an urgent meeting. Apparently, the errors had been circulated as Jason's idea. He stammered, tried to claim innocence, but the digital trail was crystal clear. The VP looked at him with disbelief. "Why would you forward this without verifying?" Jason turned red, flustered, silent. By the end of the week, he was reassigned to another office. Far away from the team he'd terrorized. The rest of us? We cleaned up the mess, but we also learned something. Offices are full of spies, backstabbers, and manipulators. But patience, cleverness, and evidence always win. Story 10. Karma in the parking lot. Our office had a single reserved parking spot. Labeled Employee of the Month. And everyone knew the unspoken rule. Don't touch it unless your name is on the plaque. But Tom, a coworker notorious for entitlement, ignored it. Every morning, he'd park there, smirking like he owned the world. Even after repeated reminders from HR. We complained, we begged, we ignored, nothing worked. Then one day, the CEO decided to visit unexpectedly. He drove up, couldn't find a spot. Noticed Tom's car. And noticed the name on the plaque. Reserved for Employee of the Month. He read aloud. Tom's face turned pale. The CEO immediately called security. And the building manager posted a new sign. Reserved for terminated employees. 2 weeks later, Tom was gone. Not fired officially, but transferred under mysterious circumstances. The coveted spot? Free for the next truly deserving employee. From that day on, we all learned a valuable lesson. Office politics may seem petty, But karma has a way of finding the most entitled. Sometimes, even before they realize it. And sometimes, it comes in the most unexpected forms. A sign, a parking lot, and a boss who actually notices. Those were 10 real Reddit stories of workplace nightmares. Toxic bosses, backstabbing coworkers, and karma that doesn't miss. If you enjoyed these tales, like, subscribe, and share which story hit closest to home. And remember, in the office, integrity always outlasts the chaos.